Welcome to Miss Scarlett, the place to be feminine. Subscribe and enjoy.
Honey, are you sure this is such a good idea?
Henry's voice quivered as he adjusted the sun hat, feeling the warm Mediterranean breeze on his face. He was already in shorts and a light blouse, a straw bag hanging casually over his shoulder. His heart raced as he took in the busy marina, filled with the buzz of holiday-goers. Relax, Henry. We're on vacation. His wife, Sarah, laughed, her hand gently squeezing his. Besides, didn't you tell me you always wanted to explore your feminine side? Now's your chance. Henry nodded, a nervous smile playing on his lips. Yeah, I know. It's just, well, it feels a little intimidating, I guess. I mean, what will people think? Who cares what they think? Sarah teased, her eyes sparkling with mischief. You look fabulous! And more importantly, you feel fabulous, don't you? Henry took a deep breath, letting her words sink in. Yeah, I do. It's just, I've never done anything like this before. I mean, back home, I could never even imagine. Shh. Sarah placed a finger on his lips, her expression turning serious. No more second guessing, okay? We're here. We're doing this. And I promise you it's going to be amazing. Just embrace it. Embrace your new side. Henry nodded, his worries momentarily soothed by her encouraging smile. Okay, let's do this. I mean, I am Henrika now, right? He struck a playful pose, one hand on his hip, the other adjusting his hat. You certainly are, sister. Sarah laughed, linking arms with him. Now, let's get going. Our table's waiting, and I, for one, can't wait to show off my gorgeous girlfriend to the whole damn marina. Henrika's heart pounded in his chest as they strolled along the waterfront, the warm sun caressing his bare legs. He felt exposed, vulnerable, yet somehow, with Sarah by his side, he also felt empowered. The stares and whispers of passers-by only added fuel to the fire burning within him, a fire that ignited his desire to embrace this side of himself fully. You're doing great, Sarah whispered, giving his hand a squeeze. Just own it, girl. As they approached the bustling restaurant, a handsome waiter greeted them with a charming smile. Table for two? This way, please. Sarah beamed as they followed him, clearly relishing the attention her unusual companion was attracting. You're a natural, you know, she whispered, leaning close. Like you've been doing this your whole life. Henrika felt a surge of confidence. Really? You're not just saying that?
Nope. I mean, look around.
She gestured discreetly at the other diners. You're turning heads, girlfriend. And she was right. As they were led to their table, Henrika noticed the discreet glances, the whispered asides, and the curious stares. He straightened his posture, a mischievous smile spreading across his face. Can I get you ladies something to drink? The waiter asked, his eyes flicking between them. A bottle of your finest Prosecco, I think, Sarah said, her eyes sparkling. We're celebrating. Celebrating, are you? The waiter's eyebrows rose, but he said nothing more, simply giving them a knowing smile as he took their menus. You know it, Sarah replied, her tone playful. To new experiences and embracing our true selves. She raised an imaginary glass, her eyes shining with excitement and encouragement. Henrika's heart swelled with gratitude for this adventurous woman by his side. To new experiences, he echoed, feeling the warmth of the Mediterranean sun on his face. As they clinked glasses, a burst of laughter drew their attention to a nearby table. A group of middle-aged men, tanned and relaxed, were openly staring at Henrika, their faces a mixture of amusement and surprise.
Looks like you've made some fans, Sarah murmured, following his gaze.
Henrika felt his cheeks flush, his nervousness returning in an instant.
Great,
he muttered,
lowering his voice. Just what I wanted, to be some kind of sideshow attraction.
Hey, don't let them get to you! Sarah's hand found his under the table, giving it a reassuring squeeze. They're just a bunch of old farts with nothing better to do. Ignore them. Henrika tried to focus on the menu, his eyes scanning the options, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being on display. I know, but it's hard not to feel self-conscious. Then don't. Sarah's voice was firm, her eyes daring him to argue. This is about you, remember? About celebrating your feminine side. So own it, girl. Flaunt it. Those guys are just jealous because their wives won't let them explore their wardrobes. Despite himself, Henrika laughed. Jealous of me? That's a first. Oh, get used to it, girlfriend. Sarah grinned, her eyes scanning the nearby tables. You're turning heads left and right. I bet half the women here wish they had your figure. Feeling slightly comforted, Henrika straightened his posture, the Prosecco bubbling pleasantly through his veins. Well, I did put in the work. All those squats and lunges while you were at yoga. Ha! I knew there was a reason I loved you. Sarah winked, leaning across the table to steal a quick kiss. Now, enough stalling. Let's order. I, for one, am famished. As the meal progressed, the Prosecco flowed, and the sun lowered in the sky. Henrika felt himself relaxing. The stares and whispers became background noise, his self-consciousness fading with the light of day. By the time the waiter brought their coffee, he was laughing and chatting freely, enjoying the freedom this new persona afforded him. So, how do you feel now? Sarah asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Better, I hope? Henrika nodded, taking a slow sip of his cappuccino. Much. I feel liberated, I guess. Like I can finally breathe. He set his cup down, meeting her eyes. Thank you for pushing me to do this. I know it wasn't easy, and I certainly didn't make it easy for you. It was my pleasure. Sarah's voice softened, her hand reaching across the table to cover his. Seeing you like this, happy, free, it makes me incredibly happy too. I'm glad. Henrika's voice was thick with emotion. I just wish... He trailed off, his eyes drifting to the now dark marina beyond the restaurant's fairy lights. What do you wish? Sarah prompted gently. Henrika hesitated, his eyes flitting back to meet hers. I wish I could be her all the time, not just on vacation, not just when it's convenient or acceptable. I want to be Henrika whenever I want, wherever I am. Sarah's eyes shone with unshed tears as she squeezed his hand. I know, and I truly hope one day you'll be able to. The world's changing, slowly but surely, and who knows? Maybe by next year, we'll be back here, and you'll step off the plane as Henrika, no explanations needed. You really think so? Henrika's voice held a mixture of hope and doubt. I do. She sat up straighter, determination in her eyes. And in the meantime, we have a whole week ahead of us. A week for you to explore, experiment, and discover everything you love about being Henrika. A smile spread across Henrika's face as he considered the possibilities. A whole week. That's right. Sarah's eyes glinted with mischief. And who knows, maybe by the end of it you'll teach me a thing or two about fashion and makeup. Henrika laughed, shaking his head. I doubt that, but I'll certainly give you my honest opinion on your outfits. Their dinner came to a close as the fairy lights twinkled in the gentle sea breeze. As they strolled back along the marina, arms linked, a newfound sense of confidence buoyed Henrika. The stares and whispers no longer bothered him. Instead, he felt a sense of pride and freedom. This was who he was, Henrika, and for the first time, he felt like he could truly be himself, at least for this magical week. So, what now? He asked, a mischievous glint in his eye. Back to the hotel? Sarah shook her head, her smile mysterious. No, I have a feeling you're going to want to hit the shops. I mean, we can't have you wearing the same outfit twice, can we? Henrika's eyes widened in mock horror. Absolutely not! That would be a travesty! I thought you'd agree. Sarah laughed, steering him toward a row of tempting-looking boutiques. Now, as your style consultant, I think we need to start with some essentials. Every girl needs a killer pair of heels and a little black dress, am I right? A little black dress? Henrika repeated, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Now you're talking? I know, right? Sarah winked, pulling him into the first shop. Let's get you measured and find that perfect fit. As the excited shop assistant fussed over them, bringing box after box of delightful shoes, Henrika felt a thrill like never before. This was it. This was the life he'd dreamed of. He could almost forget the constraints of his everyday life, the mask he felt he had to wear. Here, in this moment, he was free to be himself, to explore, to discover, and he intended to make the most of every second. Ooh, I think we have a winner! Sarah's delighted cry drew his attention to a pair of black stiletto heels that elongated his legs perfectly. Henrika stood, striking a pose as he admired his reflection. You know, I think I was born for this. I knew it! Sarah laughed, clapping her hands together in glee. Now let's find that dress to go with these beauties. And so, their adventure continued. A whirlwind of shopping bags, changing rooms, and excited squeals as Henrika embraced his feminine side with gusto. By the time the sun set, he had not only a new wardrobe, but a newfound sense of self, one that felt authentic and liberating. I can't believe I'm saying this, Henrika remarked as they strolled back to their hotel, laden with bags. But I'm exhausted from shopping. I think I need a drink and a good night's sleep. You've certainly earned it. Sarah smiled, her eyes filled with pride and affection. And tomorrow, we can hit the beach. Sun, sea, and sand, the perfect setting for your new bikini. My new bikini? Henrika's eyes widened in surprise and no small amount of nervousness. You didn't? Oh, I absolutely did. Sarah grinned, clearly relishing the look on his face. You'll thank me when you see it. It's to die for. I can't wait. Henrika's tone was dry, but his heart raced at the thought. Or maybe I can... No backing out now, sister. Sarah tugged him gently toward their hotel. We've only just begun our holiday, and there's so much more for you to discover about being a woman. You're right. Henrika took a deep breath, steeling himself. Bring it on, I say. Besides, I have you to guide me through this brave new world, don't I? You certainly do. Sarah's expression softened as they entered the lobby. And remember, I'm here for you no matter what. So, if it ever gets too much... I know. Henrika placed a gentle hand on her arm. But it won't. I feel amazing, and I have you to thank for that. Now, let's get a drink. I deserve it after today's whirlwind. A drink it is. Sarah's eyes sparkled with amusement. And maybe a massage, too? To soothe those aching shopping muscles? You're reading my mind. Henrika laughed, letting the hotel's luxurious atmosphere soothe his last remaining nerves. I think I could definitely get used to the pampered life. Well, that's what vacations are for, aren't they? Sarah teased, leading the way to the bar. Relaxation, exploration, and the chance to be whoever you want to be. As they ordered their drinks, the sun dipping below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the sea, Henrika felt a sense of peace wash over him. This was right. This was meant to be. The worries and constraints of his everyday life felt 1,000,000 miles away, and he intended to savor every moment of this liberating transformation. The next morning, the warm sun shone brightly, as Henrika and Sarah strolled along the golden beach, the sand soft beneath their feet. He felt nervous again, his hand unconsciously adjusting the wide-brimmed sun hat that shaded his face. His heart raced under the snug bikini top, the slight breeze sending a shiver through him. "Are you sure this was a good idea?" He found himself asking again, his voice laced with doubt. Sarah, her face relaxed and carefree, turned to him with a patient smile. "Of course, it was. You look amazing and you know it." Henrika glanced around, self-consciously. The beach was bustling with sunbathers and swimmers, all seemingly at ease in their skin. "I know, but..." "No buts." Sarah's hand found his, her grip firm and reassuring. "You wanted to do this, to truly embrace your feminine side. So, let's do this. No turning back now." Henrika took a deep breath, steeling himself. "Okay, let's find a spot." As they wandered along the shoreline, Henry, feeling the sand between her toes, began to relax. The gentle sound of the waves soothed his nerves, and the warm sun on his skin felt comforting. He noticed the admiring glances, the whispers, and the pointed fingers. But with Sarah by his side, they only added to his growing sense of empowerment. "You know," he said, breaking the silence as they spread their towels on the sand. "I think I'm starting to get the hang of this." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining with encouragement. "I knew you would. It's all about confidence, right? Faking it until you make it." Henrika nodded, settling onto his towel, his heart rate slowly returning to normal. "Exactly. And, well, it helps to have such a gorgeous companion. You distract them from me." Sarah laughed, her eyes sparkling. "Oh, I doubt that very much. But yes, I'll gladly take some of the credit." She stretched out on her towel, closing her eyes, the sun caressing her face. "Now, hush. Let's relax and work on our tans." Henrika leaned back, feeling the warm sand beneath him, the gentle breeze tousling his hair. Despite his initial nerves, he felt incredibly content. This was true freedom, he realized, and it was a feeling he wanted to hold on to long after this magical vacation ended. As the sun moved across the sky, they swam in the crystal-clear waters, strolled along the shore, and sipped refreshing cocktails. Henrika felt his worries slip away, his confidence growing with each passing hour. By the time the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the beach, he felt transformed, not just by his appearance, but by this newfound sense of self-acceptance.
"I could get used to this,"
he murmured as they watched the sunset, hand in hand. "I knew you'd say that." Sarah smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder. "And I agree. It suits you, this whole beach goddess vibe." "Beach goddess?" Henrika laughed, feeling a wave of affection for this wonderful woman by his side. "I think I could definitely embrace that title." "Good." Sarah snuggled closer, her eyes on the vibrant sky. "Because we have a few more days of sun and sand ahead of us." "Plenty of time for you to perfect the art of beachside glamour." "Plenty of time," Henrika echoed, squeezing her hand. "And who knows, maybe by the end of this trip, I'll be giving you fashion advice." Sarah laughed, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Stranger things have happened." She sat up, regarding him with a playful look. "Now, since we've worked up an appetite, how about we head back to the hotel for dinner? I, for one, am starving." "Starving?" Henrika repeated, raising an eyebrow. "All that swimming must have tired you out. Let's go then. I could definitely use a good meal myself." As they strolled back along the beach, hands entwined, the soft sand squishing between their toes, Henrika felt a deep sense of contentment. This was what life was all about, he realized. Finding your truth and embracing it, no matter what. And with Sarah by his side, he knew he could take on the world, in stilettos or swimwear, or whatever the future held. "So, how are you feeling now?" Sarah asked, as they sat down to dinner on the hotel's candlelit terrace, the moon reflecting off the sea. "More at ease, I assume?" "I am." Henrika sighed, taking a leisurely sip of her wine. "It's like I've finally woken up, you know? Like I was sleepwalking through life before, and now I'm truly alive." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining with a mixture of happiness and pride. "I'm so glad. You deserve to feel this way, to embrace your true self." "Thanks to you." Henrika's voice was thick with emotion. "If it weren't for your support and encouragement, I'd still be stuck in that dull, gray world, too afraid to step into the light." "Nonsense!" Sarah waved his words away, her eyes flicking briefly to the nearby tables before returning to his. "You would have gotten here eventually, with or without me. I just gave you a little nudge, that's all." Henrika shook his head, reaching across the table to cover her hand with his. "It was more than a nudge, Sarah. It was a lifeline. You have no idea how much this means to me." "Oh, but I do." Sarah's voice softened, her thumb gently stroking the back of his hand. "Because seeing you like this, happy, radiant, confident, it means everything to me, too." Their eyes met, and for a moment, no words were necessary. The bond between them, forged over years of friendship, strengthened by this shared experience, needed no explanation. The waiter arrived with their main course, interrupting the moment. They shared a conspiratorial smile as he set down their plates, the delicious aroma of seafood and garlic filling the air. "Enjoy your meal," the waiter said, his accent rich and musical. "We will, thank you," Sarah replied, her eyes already fixed on the dish before her. As they ate, the conversation flowed easily, covering everything from fashion to their future travel plans. Henrika felt himself relaxing even further, the cuisine and ambiance of the hotel restaurant adding to his sense of well-being. He laughed freely, forgetting to monitor his volume, his hands gesturing animatedly as he spoke. "So, now that you've conquered the beach, what's next on your agenda?" Sarah asked. Her fork paused midway to her mouth. "Any new fashion frontiers you want to explore?" Henrika considered the question as he took a bite of his seafood pasta. Well, I haven't had the chance to dress up much yet. We've been so busy enjoying the sun and sand." "True." Sarah nodded, cutting into her steak. "I think we need to rectify that. How about a night on the town? Cocktails and dancing?" Henrika's eyes lit up at the suggestion. "I'd love that! It's been ages since I let loose on the dance floor." "Perfect." Sarah smiled, raising her glass. "Then it's decided. Tomorrow night, we paint the town red." "Or pink," Henrika teased, clinking his glass against hers. "My favorite color." They chatted late into the night, the restaurant slowly emptying around them, the waitstaff discreetly refilling their wine glasses. It was past midnight when they finally retired to their rooms, arms draped affectionately around each other's waists. "Good night, Sarah," Henrika murmured, standing outside her door. "And thank you for everything." "You're welcome." Sarah stepped forward, her arms sliding around his waist. She pulled him into a warm hug, her head resting against his shoulder. "Sleep well, my beautiful friend. You deserve it. You too." Henrika hugged her back, his arms tightening around her. In that moment, he felt incredibly grateful for her friendship, her unconditional acceptance of him,